Hi, Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns. A few weeks ago my wife's family got together, her siblings and spouses, and we had a good time. One of the things that my sister-in-law gave my wife was this crocheted flower brooch. And as I looked at it, I said to myself, why do the crochet people have all the fun? They make these nice little flowers. Why can't I do something like this flower brooch in wood, as a wood turning? Well, the idea I worked on it for a bit. Finally, I came up with an idea, the concept I'll show here. In the end, I think it could be much better. So I'll consider this flower a prototype. And the process itself needs further refinement. So this flower is, one, a prototype, a good idea, I think one that can be developed further, but two, it's a baseline. I expect to improve upon this process as I work on future flowers. But one concept is that even though the flower's petals are loose, that there is a central point that anchors it all together. Let's make our flower.
I've roughed out a piece of walnut. I'm using my gouge to get as smooth a finish as possible. Then, for better uniformity, I'll sand it with my sanding board, then power sand it. I decided to make my flower petals a bit oval by sawing them on an angle. For safety, I'm using my V-block support to saw the walnut into thin wafers. Afterwards, I'll sand and finish them with sanding sealer. Now for assembly. This sure was awkward. To position 7 petals, I need 14 hands plus 1 to handle the hot melt glue gun. I have a wood faceplate slightly hollowed with a printed guide glued inside. The guide is divided into 7 parts for the 7 petals. Although some variation is acceptable, I try my best to position them in a regular pattern, but it's tough going. Finally, I have them in place and add a lot of hot melt glue around the perimeter. It's a royal mess. I also mixed up and added some epoxy to the center to anchor down the petals. After all glue cooled, hardened, or otherwise dried, I mounted the flower to the lathe. I'm boring the front middle of the flower. My epoxy was old and is not reliable. I'll start drilling with a Forstner bit, then open it out a little with a carbide cutter, then a little more with the Forstner bit. Then I'm switching to a small bit to drill a hole completely through the center of the flower. My objective is to expose enough wood to create a new bonding surface. Next, I'm preparing a piece of maple to fit the front center of the flower. This will serve triple duty. First, a tenon through the flower. Second, the final center of the flower. But meanwhile, I will leave it very long to serve as a mounting tenon with which to reverse the flower. Then I'll glue the maple in place with CA glue and make another bead of glue around the petal edges. Next, I'll try to trim back some of the hot melt glue. There's a lot of it here, but it softens when touched by a tool and I don't make much headway. Then it's time to part off the flower from the faceplate it is mounted to. I'll part it off quite long to preserve the tenon I glued into the center. Next, I'm reversing the flower to clean up the back side of the flower and reform the tenon on the back. I'll use my ground end wrenches to cut and size the tenon. Next, cut a new back for the flower. Not much to this. All I need is a square face, diameter a bit oversized, and a hole to accept the tenon coming from the front. With the back in place, I'll cut off the front mounting tenon. Since the petals tilt forward, I cannot part it off very close to where I want it, so it's a bit long. Then I'll reduce its length and refine its shape, starting with a gouge but switching to a scraper. With the petals protruding, I could not get a good angle for a gouge. My skew served well as a scraper. Finally, I'm parting it off and spraying it with spray lacquer. Well, I've finished my flower. While it looks nice, I will go back to the drawing board and figure out a different way, hopefully a better way, to turn it. I think the concept of pinning the petals together deserves more exploration. I would appreciate your suggestions. And if you have not already subscribed, please subscribe to both my website and YouTube channel. Always wear your face shield. Don't wait to be convinced by a chunk of wood. Until next time, this is Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns.